Hi, I'm Gary, and I'm here with my friend Rob, and we are excited to share stories, insights, and the values that guide our lives. Whether you're a longtime listener or new here, welcome. Visit northmancoaching.com for your free toolbox and updates. Let's dive in. Happy listening.
Today's episode, we are going to talk about individuality.
Individuality.
Where's our story?
It's in our head.
Okay. Yes, I forgot. Never mind.
Because we have questions for Paul, and he's not here, so...
Yep. And the story is in our head.
You can ask me those questions, or I can ask them to you, and we can do this.
Yeah. Gary.
Yep.
Give us a quick introduction of what of the story we're going to be talking about today.
Okay, well, originally when we started this whole thing with individuality, we were going to talk about being an individual versus a follower, I suppose. So to be your true self.
Yeah.
And then I was doing some reading and thinking about what you had said to me a few weeks or months ago about a book that you had read and a story that we were going to tie into this. And it all came together with the Frog Prince or Frog Princess,
Frog Prince.
also known as Iron Henry.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And there's another book that we recommend to our clients, and that's throughout the men's community, which is Iron John.
That's a very good book. I don't know if you,
I have. So what is your takeaway from Iron John?
Iron John is to me is like becoming the man. There's a process of becoming the person you want to be. And you're right to bring it into individuality because sometimes you have to be different than the people around you. The book is very powerful because it kind of misleads you to think that Iron John is the man in the lake sometimes, but Iron John is also the blonde-headed boy who's hiding his golden hair because everybody looks at him with the golden hair. Yeah, it is you.
Well, it's getting gray now, but whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's that, and then there's Iron Henry, also known as the Frog Prince.
Yes.
So, and the difference between the two of them is that Iron John is on a quest to become a man and be his own individual person. Versus Iron Henry is on a quest to become an individual within society.
Really?
Yes. So Iron Henry's, he was...
Before you go down there,
Yep.
Who is Iron Henry in the Frog Prince? Because the Frog Prince, what I was reading when you told me about this is that the Frog Prince isn't Iron Henry. The Frog is.
So Iron Henry is a faithful, devoted servant to the prince.
Why did you pick these two to talk about individuality?
I didn't. You did. You picked.
I picked Iron John.
You picked the Frog Prince originally, and we decided to get away from or to not go with grim fairy tales every episode. But when our guest canceled on us, we decided to go, or I looked into the Frog Prince. And when I looked into it, and his other name was Iron Henry, I was like, huh. That sounds like Iron John. So I did some research, and they are related in the sense that they are both from grim fairy tales.
How does...
ultimately, before you say anything, I just want to say, so all I'm getting at is that Iron John becomes an individual by becoming the man that he wants to become. Iron Henry becomes an individual by serving his community or with his community. So he is still his own man, but he is reliant on the community for survival. So there's two kinds of individuality: soul individuality and group individuality, if that makes sense.
Ooh, I didn't even think about that.
Yes. So if you want to hit the pause button, you can hit the pause button. Here's where we would go into us.
Okay. To the listeners out there, I am hitting the pause button.
To the listeners out there, Rob is on a journey to become a man. He'll be back in a couple years.
Beep. Welcome back. Wow, time
Welcome
travel.
back, welcome back, welcome back. That's
Time
welcome back.
travel. Nah. Anyways,
Let's go roll right into this. My story on individuality.
yes.
Okay, so it was a cold day. No, it wasn't cold. Whatever. That was the start of my story. It's a dark, dark night in June of 1978. My mother went to the hospital. Out came me. No, for a lot of my adult life, felt like I needed to fit in.
Mm,
I was a follower. If it
mm,
was cool, I was doing it, but
mm,
not because I enjoyed it. I did it because you were doing it or someone else doing it, and it was cool. The girls, the chicks, they loved it. I was like, all right, I'm doing this. I want the chicks to love me. Um, so that's who I was. I was not an individual. I wouldn't say I was a fraud. I just liked to do what other people did because it was cool. And it got me friends and women and whatever I wanted, pretty much. Then I realized I don't know when I realized it. It was probably after my divorce, like everything else. But that I needed to be my own man. I wanted to incorporate Iron Henry and Iron John into Iron Gary.
mm,
I wanted to be my own individual man, but I also wanted to help the community.
mm,
But it started off with being I wanted to be my own man. I wanted to find out or figure out why my marriage didn't work. Um, I wanted to figure out why I was a poor manager in restaurants. I wanted to figure out why I could not seem to lead my way out of a wet paper bag.
mm.
And I realized that I needed to become a man, not a follower. So in this journey I've been on, I became the man I want to be. And then I started to incorporate Iron Henry by helping other men in this
Mm.
community become the men that they want to be. So I went from a wish washy, wet paper bag of a mess to the man I want to be. And now, which would be Iron John. And now I am a combination of Iron John and Iron Henry, where I am helping other men become the men that they want to be and lead the lives that they want to live.
Wow. That's cool. So do you think you're leaving that impact now?
I am definitely leaving that impact right now.
Mm,
Could I get better at it? Absolutely.
yeah.
There's always something to hone. There's always something to sharpen. I'm forever reading, forever learning, um, forever asking questions. Yeah, and that's it.
Mm.
So, where would you say individuality comes into your life?
Well, I really appreciated your story.
Hmm.
And to me, I was younger.
Okay.
And as I listened to your story, I realized I was a special kid. I was
Me too.
I was very creative and I was individual myself. But when I was in high school or in middle school, I also associated independence, the value we did last week,
Hmm.
with being an individual. I
Yeah,
thought that if I
sorry.
was independent, I would have been an individual.
I
Like
agree
in,
with that. You have to have some sense of independence to be an individual,
you do. Yes.
but not a lot because if you are going to be the individual like Iron Henry who works with the community, you need to be your own individual, but you are relying on the community to define who you are and who you're helping.
You help the community to define who y'all are. That's like in a church. You are the one who helps the community to define who you are. Yeah.
Okay.
But
So I think that you're right. I think you need to have
yeah,
independence first to become the individual that you want to become.
yeah. And that's hard because I wanted to join the military. I was a little too fat to get into the military, and I don't know why, but actually I was kind of thankful
I know
because,
why. Potato chips.
well, it probably wasn't potato chips. It was probably French fries back then because
Ah,
McDonald's was
whatever.
giving them away practically.
I was trying to throw out that fucking
Oh,
New
yeah.
Orleans potato chips from last week.
Oh, yeah, that too. Jeez. Um, shoot, you threw me off again. But
Sorry.
anyways, going down that path, I really found my independence. But was I an individual?
Well, what is an individual to you? So before we talked about Iron John, Iron Henry, what was an
Right.
individual to you?
Well, see, before that, I would have said it would have been an independent person, somebody who doesn't need to depend on anybody else.
Okay.
However, after I've been through all this work, I'm realizing an individual is somebody who stands out among other individuals, other
Yes.
independent people.
Yes.
You stand tall, you're recognizable because you're distinctively different. Because you do something that other people don't do, don't want to do. Maybe you push the cart back into the parking thing that other people don't do.
Mm-hmm.
That's not independence, but it is individuality.
Yes.
And that's what I didn't know as a kid that I know now.
So I can give you another tidbit, and based on what you just said, that individuals work with others.
Mm.
So have you heard the story, the saying, "I'm the lone wolf"?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. How many times have you ever seen one wolf?
No, I don't really see a lot of wolves.
Neither do I. Apparently, there's no wolves in Rhode Island. Apparently, but one wolf will never ever survive without his pack. So to say you're the lone wolf, you're the individual that rides alone, you are the one that will die alone because there is no lone wolf. Wolves are in packs.
Yeah.
Great men come. A great man is surrounded by great men.
Yeah.
There is nothing about this journey where you are alone.
Yeah.
You can be an individual, but you're not alone. And if you're alone, you're doing something wrong.
In our men's group, we had 2 or 3 weeks ago, we had talked about how Jesus, being an independent kind of man, but he's also an individuality type of man because he
Yes.
stood out among everybody. He had a group of men that he stood with. He wasn't independent, but he was an
You know, it,
individuality. Yeah,
the,
he was
it was an
individual. Yeah.
individual.
Yeah.
And, I wish that I remembered the rest of that meeting that we had with the guys because you took your knowledge of religion
Mm.
and you hit a home run because you were talking about Jesus had this men's group of
Mm-hmm.
12 men.
Mm-hmm.
I have never seen this story in the Bible of Jesus and his men's group. They were called something else. Disciples, I think, right?
Disciples. Yeah. Disciples.
So if you change the whole Bible, changed disciples to men's group, and there was something else you called another guy out on uh, about mindset, maybe, or the way you
Mm-hmm.
see things. Do you remember what recall what it was?
I don't remember what it was, but yeah, it
It
it,
was good
it
though,
is how you see things. But it's
right?
also like, how do you see Jesus? Jesus was a super individual. He wasn't independent though.
Sure, yeah, he
He
was
had
not absolutely
many
not.
people following him. He had God on his
Even if
side.
he didn't have his followers, he had his dad on his side.
Yes. Yeah.
In case you all don't know, his dad is a god.
Yeah. Yeah. Learning for me, learning that being an individual doesn't mean that I have to be alone. I just have to make an impact, or I just have to stand above the rest. And you can ask Lily, who we've had on earlier podcast. I was in Taiwan and she says, "You're not like other people. You don't care what other people think about you sometimes." And I was like, "No, I don't." And she's like, "You're, I've never met anybody like you." I was like,
Hmm.
"Oh, wow, really?" So it was like, at first, it was like, "Oh crap, there's something wrong with me." But then it was like, it hit home with this individuality. It's like, no, it's because I'm confident in who I am.
I feel like I am the same way. Like I could care less what people think about me.
Hmm.
And there's people in my life right now actually that they care so much about what other people think
Yeah.
that they are actually they're fake. They're
Mm.
fake individuals because they don't want the school to know what they do at home. They don't want the neighbors to know what's going on behind the curtains.
Mm.
You know, they
Yeah.
are so worried about what other people think.
Yeah.
I leave my curtains wide open, and I don't mean that in a metaphorical way. My curtains are wide open. If I am walking around naked, you can look if you want. That's your call. I don't care.
Hmm.
It's my house.
Yeah, you're one of the special individuality people there,
I
aren't
I,
you?
I will lick the windows while I'm naked. You got to leave that in there.
Okay, I'll leave it in there. Yeah, I'll get a telephone call from your mother. Please, Robert, take that out of there.
But without my mother on my side, I would not be the man I am now. So I am
Yeah.
an individual with her on my side, and my old man, and you, and the people that are important in my life.
Yeah.
You people together with me help me become the individual that I want to become, or that I have become and continue to maintain.
There you go. And
Yeah.
that's the striving goal, I think, for individuality.
To what, maintain or find that group or
Find
both?
the herd of people
Yeah.
that help you become the person you want to be.
You have to find, and I think it's called your people. You have to find your people, your like-minded people.
Yeah, you could.
But
It
you
could.
don't want to find a certain group of people that are stuck in their ways. Like you want people that are like-minded, but will accept you for who you are.
Yeah. And I think
So
that's what makes us unique
sorry,
and
go ahead.
individual is being wanting to grow.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. So you have to want to grow, but you have to want the people that
Mm.
surround you also wanting to grow. If you surround yourself with stagnant people,
Hmm.
then you become stagnant and you will have mosquitoes breeding all over you before you know it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Rob, tell me a story about your personal journey and how you became what is your biggest moment for becoming the individual that you are?
So being so independent,
Mm-hmm.
there was a moment attending one of Jeff's sessions,
Okay.
men's group sessions, that I heard one of the guys, he said, make sure you're a good father because your behavior is the lasting impression that you're going to leave behind to them. Your
Mm-hmm.
behavior is your legacy.
Mm.
And that stuck with me like glue. And I will, and it was like 3 years ago, and it still stuck with me like glue. And I knew I needed to be around people who thought that way. That when you look back and you say, what is my impression going to be on these other people? They're going to look at my behavior to them and
Right.
say, wow, Robert was a pretty cool guy. Or, wow, Robert, he didn't talk a lot, but he was still blah, 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 blah. He was good. That your behavior is your legacy is what I want to leave to my daughter. And I knew I need to hang around guys that would help me learn how to be a better father and to leave that legacy to my daughter.
So why do you hang out with me?
That is how I knew I was going to be a special individual.
So why do you hang out with me again?
Oh, I thought you were hanging out with me. What are you talking
No.
about?
I make you special. That's all I got.
Uh-huh.
So for me, in case you're wondering,
Oh, I'm not wondering.
okay, then forget it. My pivotal moment in my personal journey was, I think it was actually Dennis that said to drop the rope when I was
Mm,
going when I was in the middle of my separation. And when I dropped that rope, which took a lot, believe me, I tried to pretend I dropped it, half dropped it, let it go limp in my hand still. But once I finally dropped it, I realized that there was nothing my ex-wife could say about me that would affect me.
mm,
And then I moved that to, there's nothing that you could say about me that would affect me, or the neighbor, or the guy I work with. And I became that guy where I don't care.
mm.
I care about who I am. I care about what I do. I care about my impact on the world and this community. But I don't care one bit
Mm.
of your opinion of me, whether it's good or bad. It's whatever.
We were talking last night about one of the guys having fear of other people's opinion of him.
Yep.
And if anybody out there has that fear, I really highly recommend reading the Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz.
Miguel Ruiz, come on, bro.
Yeah, thank you. I say his name so many times. I'm trying to read it sideways and I can't see it from here. And that book is very short. I do recommend the audiobook. It helps you understand that people have their own opinions, their own stories. Don't take it personal.
And to what Rob just said, if anybody is experiencing that fear, before you even read that book, you can read the book, I don't care, or listen to it. I would love for you to reach out to us.
Mm.
I would want to dig deeper into that. I would like to know more and hear more and help you if I can. So if that's something that any of the listeners are having an issue with, being judged by others, please reach out to us. I'd love to discuss that one.
Or join our Facebook group,
Join the Facebook group. Sure.
Northman Legacy Crew.
And if you have a discussion with me on this, I will win it. So, Rob, earlier you were saying that that you don't care what people think about you, and I agree with you. I don't either. Oscar Wilde, he once said, "Be yourself." Do you know why he said that?
Nuh-uh.
Because everybody else is taken.
Whoa.
And if you
I,
really think about that, Rob, it's true. I can pretend to be you, but you're taken. You're already you. I could be
mm,
my neighbor, but my neighbor's already my neighbor. So why would you want to be anything other than yourself? Unless you had a fear which you had to overcome. That's why you would reach out to us so we could help you out or read the book.
oh, that was pretty good, brother. I gotta hand
Of
it to
course, it
you.
was good. It was really good. I mean, why would you want to be somebody else? Before we wrap it up, tell me about a time, Rob, where you tried to be somebody else.
It would probably be before my divorce.
I imagine it would be. Mine is too.
Yeah, because I was always trying to do things to please other people.
Okay.
Be yourself. And I wasn't myself. I was always angry because everybody wanted something from me and I was trying to make everybody happy. And actually, I was very negative person
Hmm.
because of that. Um, who I was trying to be? I don't know. I was trying to be the independent person that I thought you should be when I see people on TV. Oh, you're independent. You should have your own house. You should get married. You should be happy. Blah 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 blah.
Make a couple
That
babies.
that is who I thought I had to be.
Gotcha.
How about you?
Me, before this is all before the work, before the divorce, before I figured out what I'm doing with my life. The biggest person that I can remember trying to be, you ready for it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let me take a step back to another story. Did I tell you how I learned how to surf? My old man used to, when he was out of work for a little while back when me and my brother were young, real young, and we went to the beach
Mm.
every single day. I didn't know that he was out of work. I had no clue. But all I know is it was summertime and we got to go to the beach every day. That was good. But it was when I started surfing that, well, all right, so I watched a movie.
Mm.
This is not ringing a bell at all to you?
I thought you said the clients.
That was a book I read.
Oh, book.
All right. So I learned how to surf by watching Point Break.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And I remember when Patrick Swayze, the lead actor, I forget what his name, Johnny, no, not Johnny Hughes, Brody, maybe was his name. I don't know, whatever. But he was learning how to surf, and he had the board on the beach on the sand, and he was learning how to pop to stand up.
Mm.
And I was like, I can do that. And I went, I got a board, or my friend's board. I don't remember where I got a board from, but I sat on the beach for probably a full day of just popping, going from laying down to popping. And when I figured it out, I was Patrick Swayze for a minute. I was living the Patrick Swayze life. So I was trying to be him.
Wow.
Yeah, that's my only time I can think of that I was trying to be somebody that I wasn't, but that was famous. Yeah.
That's a pretty cool story.
Then everything I have goes back to surfing somehow. I don't know why.
And that's a wrap. Thank you for hanging out with us today on Living by Oak Values. If you love what you heard, hit the subscribe button and stick around for more inspirational conversations. If you want to dive deeper, you might want to join our Facebook group, Northman Legacy Crew, or hit us up at northmancoaching.com. Oh, and if you got a story worth sharing, why not be a guest on the show? Drop us a line. We love to hear from you. And join us next week for another inspiring episode. Until then, keep embracing your values and stay authentic.